Good morning and welcome to Small Business Power, the show that is all about how small businesses can help in the community to create more health, wealth, and peace in the world. I am Cheyenne Kramer. This is my better half.
Don Kramer. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. We are.
We're even earlier in the morning.
Yes.
We're definitely here earlier than we usually are. And there's a reason for that. It's because today, for Don and I, it's a travel day.
Yes.
We've been here in Raleigh for about 5 months. Can you believe it's been that long?
It's been a good 5 months.
It's been awesome. And we are so honored and blessed today to have with us our special guest. And this is Pastor Dan Rothra with First Alliance Church. Thank you for joining
Yay.
us this
Good.
morning.
Well, it's a pleasure. I've seen you on Facebook before, and I always enjoy your stories and the way you interact with each other. Thanks for letting me be part of today's conversation.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And we owe you such a big thank you because it's really because of you that we've been able to be here in Raleigh. We've been able to do some programs here in Raleigh and hopefully have helped some people along the way. But, I thought it would be interesting to kind of start with the beginning in terms of, the fact that when Don and I first met you, you were working as a financial planner. How in the world did you go from financial planner to pastor of a church?
Well, that's a good question. And so, probably the answer to that is I was a pastor before I was a financial planner.
Oh.
And when I went through a challenging spot where I had some health issues that put me in the hospital, and I got out and was looking for some money to pay some hospital bills. And I started using my resume and getting no leads. And someone from a financial services company reached out to me. And what I saw in there was not so much dollar signs as it was the opportunity to help people learn about finance, to be able to provide some good information. Found out there that I'm not a pushy sales guy, I'm a helper guy. And helper guys, well, they just don't make a lot of money in financial services. So I eventually found myself coming back to my first calling, which was to help people process what it means to be a follower of Jesus and to live in a relationship with God and their families and their community. And that's what got me planted here at First Alliance Church, and what we've been all about for the last 5 years, even before that, because the church has been part of trying to connect with the community and care for one another for a lot of years. But it's been fun to work with a team of people, some of which that live here and some of which, well, dropped in 5 months ago. And that's been a joy too.
Well, thank you, thank you. Well, and it has been a joy to be here, to spend time with you and your congregation. You have a wonderful group of people here, and it's been truly a blessing for us. So, it was probably a few years back. I'm trying to remember. I think it was near the time when we first moved into the RV that Melanie and I went to the Raleigh City Council. Doesn't that sound about right?
About that time.
Yep. And we were here in Raleigh and we were pitching the idea that Raleigh needed to get behind the idea of having a residential entrepreneur incubator. Well, unfortunately, they haven't quite, embraced that idea here yet. But it was a video that somebody had put up of Melanie and I that kind of caught Pastor Dan's attention. And we come to find out you have a similar vision.
I do, yes. So the church here has about 12 acres, and they had a big dream when they moved here 30 years ago. When they came, they wanted to build a campus that had residential housing for missionaries that were coming home on furlough. And all of those things didn't work out quite the same way as they expected. But we still have the 12 acres. And so I had been pondering when I was moved into a place of decision making here at church as a pastor 5 years ago, how could we use all of our property? Because we're not wealthy and we don't have a lot of people, but we have a lot of resources. So we're land heavy. And we asked the question, okay, well, how do we use our land to do something good in our community? And one of the things that always comes up is housing and jobs and families, and some of the challenges that families have with jobs and kids and relationships and just being able to improve their lives, and not even before you get to the wellness factor, just how do you get enough dollars to keep a roof over your head? And so we said, well, what if we could use our land to build a place where you could bring people in for a 3-year kind of a residency where you would be able to contribute to this plan of being part of a community where you would receive job training, receive some hands-on experience. And at the end of the 3 years, you were equipped to be able to run a small business, whether that was a cleaning business or a landscaping business or a marketing business or whatever. But if you had the skills and talents, wouldn't it be cool to be able to be set free with enough skills, enough experience that you could be transplanted into another place like Charlotte or Atlanta or New York or wherever, and you'd be able to start your business because you know how to run it.
Yes.
But you need money to do all those things, and I just didn't have enough money in my pocket to build 12 houses to house 12 families. So I still have a dream. I just don't have a set of buildings to do it. Now, one of the other pieces of that story is the spiritual component. Often we do things based on natural law, which is important, but we leave out the idea that there are spiritual laws and how God holds up the universe. And if you really get down to it, there's only so much we can do to take care of ourselves. And so we know intrinsically that there must be something out there that makes me well, makes me strong, makes me happy, because every time I find my happiness, it always eludes me. Like eventually it slips away. So there must be something because I know it's there. Mm-hmm. And so part of our residential program was to help people learn character and biblical values without the pressure. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't be that we're forcing people into a mold as much as saying, hey, this is a neat way to live. And if you take a look at it, you might see that there's value in those things. But we never got the entrepreneurship program up and running, although that's still a dream.
Well, and I'd like to think that maybe we were at least planting some seeds in that direction here this summer, because that's what We Care Partnerships is really all about. Is we're about bringing together teams of small business owners to support a community like this that has these amazing visions, because so many people feel hopeless and helpless these days when they look around and they see all the craziness going on in the world, and they're just like, but there isn't anything I can do about it. And I'm like, no, not true.
Now, it might not be that you can do enormous things.
Right.
Like when you guys are working to put together the Young Entrepreneur Program, mm-hmm. That was a small program that involved 6 kids, 8 kids, mm-hmm. plus a few parents. Mm-hmm. But over the period of time, and we were excited about the things that you did to work with kids. And we had a great experience with one of our own youth here in our church, that he came in not really knowing where he was going or what he was doing. And, through the conversations and the interaction, like we really saw him come out of his mold, mm-hmm. That he was more willing to experiment, and you connected him with somebody that kind of helped between the assessment he took and the conversations you had, that at the end, he was genuinely excited about entrepreneurship, excited about how he could make some choices. And I think he even decided he was going to try to get back to school eventually.
I think so. In fact, his mom told me the other day that he actually has made it through all of some certification training for QuickBooks Pro, and he's getting ready to become certified.
Wow.
So, that's the kind of stuff that we love to see, because we're all about providing education that can help to bring a better level of health and wellness to people, to more prosperity to people, and more peace of mind to people. And a big piece of what we do, and this is part of what we did last fall right here at the church, was we brought a class in that is called Find Your Song and Sing It, and we were really working to try to help people reignite that spark inside, where there's something you can get passionate about, something you can feel purposeful about, something that gives you a mission. And I think that actually some of the folks in your church actually have kind of moved forward with some of that, have they not?
Oh yeah, we did. So we had some ladies who really loved crafting. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about doing some things here at the church with some classes, but we never really pulled it off. And this year, with some of the things that we've been striving to do to connect with the community, to engage young people, to do our small parts, because we only have about 50 people here, mm-hmm. So it's not like we're a big fellowship. But between the ways that we serve on Saturdays with produce and other things, we were looking for a way we could add some classes to our community. Mm-hmm. And so we said to this couple of older ladies, who are retired now, but love crafting. Hey, what would you think about putting together a craft program, a 2-week craft class to work on some crafting things together? It would have community, it would have relationships, it would have support. They would be able to put some money into it. And these ladies, and I think they were the ladies that were in the Find Your Song and Sing It class, that they had found a new confidence, a new clarity about what they could do. And we gave them an opportunity to experiment with it in a supportive environment where they didn't feel like they were going to fail. And it was okay to learn as you go. And sometimes that's what holds you back. You need people who can kind of say, well, we'll walk with this together. I'll do my part, you do your part, but we'll get farther if we do it together.
Yep.
And so my ladies were really blessed and encouraged by being part of that class.
That's awesome. Well, and of course, we have to also make mention, we've got this amazing coffee we're drinking this morning, and here we are in something called the Bridge. And I love this because, back when we were in class last fall, you were talking about this, but had you taken action yet?
No. So I'm a think about it. I'm like Don. Quiet waters run deep.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it takes me a while to get things moving. And so I had some thoughts that I had. And one of the things that Cheyenne had said, because one of the things that she brings to the table is a set of questions. What do you think about that? What if that was different? What if you could make some changes? How would your life change if? That's a big question. And she had made a comment on the side because of my zeal for and interest in coffee. She was surprised they didn't have a coffee shop. And I thought, I had chased it. I had thought about doing it, but I had some structural financial challenges that if I build a building, I was going to have to pull permits. It was going to cost me a lot of money. But I hadn't really thought about how I could do it on a small scale without permits, because it was not changing anything in our structures.
Right.
And so there were a few other pieces that had to fall into place. But, part of what we are doing now is connected to some of the conversations we had in the Find Your Song and Sing It class. It's like you don't know what you could do because you rule out things before you get there, because your previous experience suggests you couldn't, when sometimes your previous experience just suggests it wasn't the right time, or the previous experience suggests that maybe you didn't have enough skills. But as time goes on, you get more skills, you get more experience, and you can't let those limiting stories just always hold you down. And sometimes you just need somebody else to come from the outside and ask some questions.
So when is this coffee cafe open?
That's right.
Oh, we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 7:30 in the morning to about 11:30. We'd love to have, if you're in Raleigh, stop by and get a cup. It is delicious. Today we're drinking coffee from Honduras. City roast if you're a coffee person, which most people, they just like coffee.
Well, we've certainly experienced coffee all over the country as we're RVing, and I haven't found any better than what Pastor Dan roasts. So you need to come by here and check it out for sure. It's on Buffalo Road in Raleigh, and very easy to find, and you'll always find some welcoming people here as well.
That's true.
That is
Snacks.
Oh yeah, they have some amazing
Homemade.
homemade snacks here too.
Sometimes breakfast.
Yeah, sometimes breakfast. And Pastor Dan, he likes to cook, and he does a great job of it. So we've been blessed with that many times here too. But there's so many things that I think could be even possibly opening up for the future. I mean, when we did the Young Entrepreneur Program, we ended up learning a lot about some of the plight of young people who have aged out of the foster care system. And, isn't it interesting that after we did that program, you had this idea about using the kitchen here and getting some young people involved in doing almost like a restaurant, maybe one day a week. And didn't somebody just show up with the same desire?
They did. So we were cleaning up our produce on Saturday, and I had just gotten into the big truck that we use to put the signs out by the road, and a gentleman rolled in an orange pickup truck, and found out later his name was Landon, and nice fella. But he said he had a heart for doing some things with food and to do something that supported and encouraged folks who were aging out of the foster care system. I said, what did you just say? He says, well, I'm interested in have this experience. And I said, you know what, we should talk more. And so we had a chance to talk, And so we were brainstorming, and we're still brainstorming. We haven't got all the details figured out. That's kind of my routine. I get thinking about it, and then I have to think about it, and eventually all the things start to line up where it's time to take some action. But doing something that is a 10-week program that focuses on running a restaurant, which is a small business, and there are people skills, there's marketing skills, there's practical cleanup skills, there's cooking, chefing, if that's a word.
It is now.
There's making food, but all those are good skills to learn. And regardless what career field you end up in, those good habits and those good character qualities of how do you work with people that are difficult? How do you work with people that are on your team? How do you provide leadership without being, well, that leader that no one wants to serve under? You know, how do you do it? And all those things you can teach through food preparation. And so this fellow has an experience in food and culinary arts. And so we're pondering, how do we do this so we can support, and it's very much entrepreneurship. And it kind of spun out of, and this goes back to, you can do small things that have big impact. Like 1 or 2 or 3 people can get together and create a program that connects with a certain target group, whether it's homeless people or people who are moms or teenagers like you guys connected with, or other areas, and focus on, you know, how can we get better together? You know, how can we help each other? Because there's something that happens when you sit in a room and you share some of your dreams, where it might not be that they grow today, but maybe you're just planting those in fertile soil.
Yes.
You know, but it is in the process of doing good. And that's one of the things I liked about the We Care partnership, that as people come together, each of the people that are in the We Care partnership, I think, have their own businesses, but they have this distinct interest of saying, okay, how do we support one another as we try to do good together?
Yes.
And sometimes those are shared missions, but sometimes it's a mission where somebody lives in a particular area and they're trying to do good in their space because that's where they live.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and we're hoping that even though we may be moving on right now, that there may be some more things that kind of keep developing as well. We know that our good friend Tiffany Hunter, she's very interested in finding ways to be able to partner with First Alliance. You know, we did start with reaching out and trying to help more people learn about other ways to support and empower themselves with a higher level of health and wellness. We talked about essential oils, those that are in the Bible, and why they're important to learn about them. Well, Miss Tiffany has a certificate in holistic health, and she wants to be able to do some seminars, but she also has a passion for the youth. She used to be a Montessori teacher, and she's very much into teaching and training about entrepreneurship for young people as well. So who knows what the future might hold?
I don't know.
I think it's going to be good.
I think
it is
so.
going to be good.
I think so too. And we've definitely done everything we can think of to try to plant those seeds and continue to help you guys. And I will say this too. I mean, you know, compared to when we got here just after Easter this year, and now, goodness, it seems like there's been quite a few more people showing up in the church on Sunday mornings, haven't they?
You're like little magnets out there in that RV. They like see them. Don sets up the antenna. I think it draws them in. It pulls them right in.
Yes. I have no choice.
That's it. They gotta show up. Gotta show up. So, and I know we've even heard voices, little voices and cries in the congregation, and that's a beautiful thing, because that creates roots for growth in the congregation.
Well, I will say that it has been a joy to have Don and Cheyenne here. We began, so we have an open church, open philosophy, where this is not my church. I'm just here for a little while. And so we're called to be stewards of our space. So even though the name of our church, you know, our property is in the name of the church body here, but we're only stewards. So our goal is to say, how do we use our space in a way that honors God and God's interests? And so when you guys signed up and said, hey, you know, we're coming back to town, we had spent some time together with you in the RV before, and we enjoyed that, that you said, well, this might be longer this time. And I was okay with that, because we try to hold open hands. And when you came, it was a little bit more of just the generous, that's who we are. We want to be generous people. But I have to say that in your leaving, there's a little sadness to that, like, because I've really found that I have both enjoyed your company and enjoyed your conversations and enjoyed the good things you brought to our people, the way that Don engaged with and helped both Peter and Patrick and other ways that they played a role in getting stuff fixed and helping stuff be better and passing out flyers and being connected in our community. Like, you guys were a great help to us over these last 5 months. And I'm reminded of a scripture text in Galatians where it says, let us not become weary in doing good. This is Galatians 6, 9, and 10. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. And so part of you being here is us saying, how can we do good to you as people that are loving God and wanting to know what Jesus wants you to do, and leading you forward and helping you as you engage your friends and neighbors, and, well, not neighbors necessarily because we're your neighbors, but friends and other people that are around the world, really all across the United States and Canada and other places, that you have sought to do good in your space. And it was our job, but we found that there were blessings that came to us that were unintended, whether it was the young entrepreneurship program that you didn't really know was going to be that.
No.
I mean, originally you were trying to do something else, and,
Yep.
and that's what it developed into, but it seemed like that was what God wanted it to develop into, because he had this other idea in mind.
Yep.
Or your supportive, or the energy, the enthusiasm, the hopefulness that you brought, the contagious friendship as you extended hands and opened your heart to share your story. Whether it was the story of how, you moved out of the business world because of health concerns, or you moved out of the HR field because you wanted to travel, or because the house went away, and then what was God's story in that, and where we're supposed to go, and how we ask God for help. And sometimes it's clear and sometimes it's not, but it's okay, because God is still out in front of us and he's taking care of us. Like, so I'm going to miss you guys. And if you're thinking about having a relationship with them and letting them put their camper in the back 40 of your church parking lot, you will not be sorry. They have not left a mess. They have not left something fall apart. They take good care of their stuff. They've been like the nighttime security team. Well, that's a little bit exaggerated, but their being here has helped us, not only at night, but during the day and on Sundays. And I didn't really make any requirements of you guys. I just said, if you're going to be here, just get to know our people, let our people get to know you. And I think our people are going to miss you as much as I am. And so I just want to open this up to say, if you're thinking about having a relationship with Don and Cheyenne, you will be grateful for the ways that they will sow in. And, you get to know Don, and he's actually more talkative than he is in these videos. Because Cheyenne, she just gets rolling. She's kind of like me. I might be Pastor Cheyenne. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's been good to have you. And thank you for being part of our lives and our family. And we're going to miss you.
Thank you. We'll
Yes, thank you.
definitely miss you and your congregation as well. And I see Maggie joined us today. Maggie was the one who did our seminar. So thank you for being with us, Maggie. And we appreciate you as well. So that's it for Small Business Power today. I still believe small businesses have the power to partner with great places like First Alliance Church and help to be the change we're looking for. And not just be it, but to do it.
Right. Do it.
So thank you all for watching today. And thank you so much, Pastor Dan. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do this again someday.
All right.
Pretty exciting.
Very much.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.